Defense Secretary?
Curveball, Danielle Staub. Steven Spielberg couldn't have written that, but Phaedra did it.
He was a freak and they got a divorce.
He was a freak, yeah, you're right. World Star is so 2010. It's the shade room now.
This is Niche Bar.
I'm gonna talk about it anyway.
Hello, it's Niche.
It's Clutch Sports CEO's wifey.
Oh, what is his name?
What is his name?
I wanted to say Jake Paul for some reason.
Rich Paul.
Rich Paul. Welcome to another week of This Is Niche. We got really good feedback on our last episode. We were spilling major tea.
We don't have the bandwidth to, but we hear the calls for a weekly show.
You may not have gotten a response from me, but I see all the comments saying you love Will and you want him on every week.
I'm pretty sure I don't see a single comment that says anything about me. This podcast is good in spite of me.
No, that's not true.
It allows for a proper format for you to shine, and that's what I want to provide here.
It is a lot easier to talk to a person than to a camera because I can bounce off of you a little bit, but you contribute a lot to the show. You bring some niche topics.
Yeah.
Who would have ever heard of SB Mowing had you not, and his MAGA merch?
The amount of stuff that you cut out of episodes that I say might be for my own betterment.
There are some things that I cut out of episodes because you take it a little far.
Maybe I'm a little too ruthless.
Maybe we talk about you-know-who too much that I have to cut out a lot of your contributions.
I don't think we have him on this episode once, but
I have been so tempted.
We're starting the episode and we're saying he's not on it. We'll see if he ends up on it still. There's always a tangent back to that motherfucker.
They're like, who are you talking about?
If you don't know, go watch episodes 1 through 3. It's
and
a common
to see
theme.
Who we talk about literally every single time. So we didn't watch the Grammys, but I did see a clip of Chappell Roan winning Best New Artist.
Yep.
And she did a beautiful speech about how artists are underpaid and unappreciated and these record labels don't give them health insurance.
Very sticking up for the small artist, which, is a Herculean task.
However,
it was a nice speech.
So a few days after the speech, I'm scrolling on Reddit and I see that this nail artist, Holly Muniz, posted on her Instagram story saying, I find it ironic that Chappell Roan called for livable wages for artists at the Grammys, but didn't want to pay for multiple nail sets and giving only 2 days notice to create them. That exposure would be the payment. Strange. And she shared the email from Chappell Roan's stylist. Chappell starting her headline tour. We're interested in some of your press-on nail sets for Chappell. We were wondering if you would gift any sets for tagging in credit. The last tour was covered by Vogue and Nylon, so we expect press. And she said, moral of the story, pay your artists their worth regardless. Free nails are never free. We spend hours and hours on our craft and exposure pays zero bills. We deserve to be paid too. And then she shared her email writing them back, basically saying, absolutely not.
First off, what level is this nail tech?
She is extremely good. She has over 100,000 followers on Instagram. Holly with the good nails. She does these long press-ons with like rhinestones and crystals and studs and all these different colors blended. It's absolutely beautiful.
Okay, so she's clearly legit. She has a huge following and it sounds like they're really, really intricate. Obviously, it wasn't Chappell herself asking for it, right?
Right.
So it's not like you're calling out Chappell specifically for doing that. But if you're going to make a speech like that at the Grammys, then you would think that you would have like a policy within your team for supporting smaller local artists, paying people.
And it's the nails. People will see the nails, but I feel like there's not going to be an article about the nails.
Unless you're going to do like a hand modelly accessories forward interview with some magazine. I feel like the nail person is going to be the last person to get any sort of like publicity on her outfit.
So obviously everybody is coming for Chappell Roan's stylist, Genesis Webb, after this because they're like, bitch, you're fake. So she posts on her Instagram story and says, hey everyone, welcome to the industry. Are you new here? Seems so. In this field, people work harder than what they get paid for because they believe in something. Just because someone seems famous doesn't mean they have ample amounts of money to spend. You all would be floored if you knew how much budget I had last year for projects. If you don't want to work in the industry and don't understand how it works, then you probably shouldn't be speaking on anything because you're uninformed. You definitely shouldn't be harassing people on my team who, by the way, were interning at the time, meaning working, that's right, for free. So you just admitted to not paying more people.
Right. So why are you gloating about this? This is very like, I create a toxic work environment because that's what I had. So that's what I'm going to give to you.
Why, if you know how bad that is, should someone else have to do it too?
There's absolutely nothing wrong with you asking for something for free, I suppose. But to make it sound like it is problematic to stand on your own 2 feet and advocate for fair pay for your work is crazy.
Especially when you're a stylist.
You
You make your own prices and you have to advocate for yourself.
Exactly. I understand that Chappell probably doesn't get paid as much as she probably still deserves.
You don't think so?
I don't know. Especially for the amount of like avant-gardeness she does. There's no way that her wardrobe and all that stuff is cheap. So I'm sure she's spending quite a bit to maintain the image that she's cultivated for herself, which is great.
Unless everyone's sending her everything for free.
Yeah.
Overall, I feel like there's not really a problem with asking for stuff for free. It's the same way that like brands will ask for things for free. You can ask, but just know that people are going to say no and they're entitled to say no and stand by their rates, and it is what it is.
And I'm sure this girl, this nail tech, just by making that post, she got national publicity for that.
I mean, it was on Reddit. I don't know how big it got.
I feel like that was big.
Okay. Did you see it on your own?
I saw it on Twitter.
Okay.
It probably hit like World Star or something.
Why would it hit World Star?
I don't know.
World Star is so 2010. It's the shade room now.
Oh, it's the shade room? I bet.
It's the shade room. 2025 has been the year of cabinets. We got new kitchen cabinets, or redid the cabinets. And we have a new cabinet in the White House.
Well, technically the cabinet doesn't work in the White House. Let's just keep going. So we thought we would have a game in which we came up with our own housewife cabinet for our administration, the niche administration.
The United Niches of America. And you are really into housewives. I feel like I really opened up doors for you. So
yeah, but I don't know as many different cities as you know.
Yeah, I feel like you've only watched Beverly Hills really deeply.
And Miami.
So maybe these will be a little bit slanted towards those two, but we've got some others. So what's a cabinet without a president? Who should be the president?
So I feel like coming in with the queen bee of Beverly Hills when I started, it's got to be Lisa Vanderpump. I feel like she just orchestrates. She's a little puppeteer.
Totally. And she would turn the White House from a drab institution to one with crystal chandeliers and plants everywhere and like purple lace on the wall.
She knows how to fuck up a restaurant.
Do you mean fuck up in a good way or a bad way?
In a good way.
Okay.
She does a great job. Those Vegas spots, they're dope.
Sometimes it gets a little tacky. Like Sir, I find a bit. Perhaps because I know too much.
I don't think Sir's that tacky. I think the Will Tom. Sorry. I think. But I don't know. I felt like Tom was way more chuggy just because it had like all the fake plants up the walls, all around. There's so many plants that if you go fake, it's just they are good fakes though.
Anyway, I feel like she would kill it though. She's very good at telling people what to do and pulling the strings.
Vice president?
I feel like this has to be the person that's like always the bridesmaid, never the bride. She's like second in command, supporting Kyle Richards.
An arm's length away from total domination, but just can't quite corral everybody.
Definitely not the most important guy in the group, but has been around the longest.
She's got seniority. She's a good stable pick for VP. She'll pull a lot of the other states that LVP wouldn't get.
She'll pull middle America.
And she's always wanting that power. And maybe one day she will get it. What's another cabinet? Defense secretary?
Curveball, Danielle Staub. Because her whole storyline on the show was defending herself from accusations from her ex-husband. And that rumor flew around town and she had to defend herself. So I feel like she could defend our country as well. Fought for her life. And you know what? We need a Secretary of Defense who will just continue to lie no matter what. Even if they're confronted with 100% certain evidence, they just still lie.
They'll never lose. Never take no for an answer. Will dig themselves deeper in a hole for the sake of government secrets.
I feel like the Secretary of the Treasury has to be Lisa from Miami. After throwing all of those parties, renting out her house to pay off her mortgage all those years, she knows her way around money, and I think she'd do well.
She's obviously great at building wealth, and that's what we want out of our treasury.
Okay, I did not think that Lisa was selling or renting out her house to pay her mortgage, okay?
1,000% do.
I'm just saying it's possible.
He was a freak and they got a divorce.
He was a freak. Yeah, you're right. Her husband. For Attorney General, we need someone who knows their way around the law. Erica Jane.
Erica Jane would destroy a defense attorney. She would lather up a jury and take them out back and spank their asses.
Oh.
I want to see her in a courtroom.
I do too, but on the other side.
With the quality of the cabinet position of Health and Human Services going Sheehan level,
Ooh.
Let's go
Timu.
back to Miami and say Dr. Nicole.
Wow, I love it. I love that she's a real anesthesiologist and not a nurse anesthetist.
Anne Marie had just, she wanted to smoke and just never pointed it the right way.
No. She, would be a funny pick, a funny nominee for Health and Human Services, but I don't think she'd make it past the confirmation hearing. Homeland Security, really important job here. Obviously must go to Bethany Frankel. She is really good at finding out information and sharing it. Her associating with Michael Cohen to get the tea on Tom cheating on Luann at the Regency. If she can hunt Tom D'Agostino in a bar making out with another woman, she can hunt the Taliban.
I believe it. Secretary of Education. Who's going to protect our colleges?
Who knows how to read? Phaedra Parks. Fergalicious.
From Traders?
And from Atlanta, yes. But she gave us one of the most iconic reads ever. May I just read it? She's sitting around, running around, talking about my husband, the father of my children, and she spends her weekends peddling through sperm banks, looking through catalogs, trying to find a donor. Honey, you don't know if your baby daddy will be an axe murderer or a child molester, because what you will know is that he needed $10 for a medium-sized pizza, so he ejaculated in a cup so you could have a kid. Now check that.
The fact that was like off the cuff.
The cuff.
I couldn't script that.
Steven Spielberg couldn't have written that, but Phaedra did it. And that's why she needs to be in charge of the next generation's education. There are a few honorable mentions that I would wish to also include in the cabinet. Obviously, Nene must be in the cabinet.
Yeah. Who's the daughter?
We're going to need Teresa Giudice as well. If there were a secretary of Italian cooking, she'd be the one. If there were a secretary of French Chateau vibes, Secretary of the Interior. Yes, interior design. There's a new article on The Cut where this person interviewed snark Redditors, and it was so fascinating. Let's not pretend that some of us do not scroll through a snark Reddit every once in a while. I'm in a few. I do not post, but I do like to keep up with what's going on so that we have material,
Of course. For your research.
It's for research purposes. But actually posting on a snark subreddit, it's just very interesting the way their minds work. Like, they were all different ages and in different jobs and everything. But the common theme through all of them was, I hate how much money influencers make. They get paid for doing nothing, and I'm jealous and bitter about it.
Oh, interesting.
No matter what. Like, there was one girl who worked in influencer marketing, and she was like, I saw how much they make, and I was making $40,000 in a year. Like, this is bullshit. And then there's another woman who is like a medical researcher, and she's just like, I hate seeing them make money.
She's a medical researcher, and she has enough time to like basically stalk.
Yeah. And she was like,
else.
I have money. Like, I have 2 houses. I'm like in medical research. So it's not like I'm jealous of them. I just don't like them. There was a lot of cognitive dissonance in that article. They were like, some people could say that we're a little obsessed. And you know what? I wouldn't even fight that argument, but I'm not obsessed.
Yeah, you're obsessed.
Even though I check once in the morning when I wake up and before I go to bed.
I'm sure you have alerts on your phones for whenever they post. I'm sure you follow all the fan accounts, all the dish accounts, looking for all the...
Listen, if you haven't been in this specific subreddit, just go look at how deep it goes. The Aspyn Ovard subreddit, they are on her ass. Like, they are screenshotting 2 seconds after she posts something. And they have something to say about literally everything.
Okay, so they're not necessarily the ones that are providing all the information. They're just providing...
Yeah, it's like each person is piecemealing information together.
I wonder what it must feel like personally if I was just scrolling a Reddit and saw my face.
Girl, it's happened to me a couple times these past couple weeks. I am in the LA influencer snark subreddit. I do scroll that. And I came across a screenshot from my own damn video.
At least they're being nice though.
They were basically saying this girl is spilling tea. And I was. They were right about that. I was like, oh my God. Honestly, it would be extremely stressful. Like I remember, I think it was last year, Lily Chapman, she's like a TikToker, and she found her snark subreddit and literally hired a team to track down the people in it. And she like found out who they were.
That's way too much.
It was a whole series. She went legal.
She went full Drake on them.
She kind of did. In a way, she kind of did. You know who else is known for doing that? I hate to say it. Trisha Paytas. She gets her snarkies taken down as well. I don't know. That must be really hard though, to just be scrolling or to just know that there's a whole subreddit dedicated to shit talking you.
I feel like if I knew that it was in like one place, then I could like avoid that side of Reddit. But if it was like, if I was going viral on Twitter and I was just be scrolling, seeing things like Gulf of America and future nuclear wars and Luka Doncic to the Lakers, and then all of a sudden it's Will McNeil proven cancelable for skinny jeans.
It's literally not even that deep. It would be like Will was on this week's This Is Niche wearing that stupid Dodgers hat. He's so obsessed with sports. Just like let it go.
I get it, but if it's in one place, I could avoid that place. I don't have to see it.
I guess, but also
do they come into like their comments section? Like, are they commenting? In like their lives.
Yes, they are commenting and posting screenshots of the comments in the snark subreddit and being like, got her, or like, she blocked me.
Oh, that's some petty ass shit. Jesus Christ.
So crazy. Like,
that's
sorry.
so much work to do.
It's actually really crazy.
You're gonna see their post, react to it, comment on it, screenshot it, share it to another place so you can have an echo chamber of people telling you how fucking cool you are for fucking ragging on somebody you don't even know.
Over something stupid. Like in last week's vlog, you said that you weren't eating dairy. Cheese again. Oh my God. But you know what? I read it. It's the article. It opened my eyes to the psyche.
It kind of reminds me of that girl on TikTok. I don't know if you saw that video where she was like basically saying that once the people that she follows, like influencers, once they like make it big, she like doesn't like them anymore. She's like,
yes,
you're not relatable to me. Like, I don't like it. And then like basically just started getting dragged left and right, being like, if you don't like people because they got famous, then you never liked them. Like, you're not a fan of theirs. You just wanted to have another person that you could watch that was struggling just like you were.
Exactly. It's more so about you than that actual person. Like, you're taking away their humanity and they're just like a thing on a screen to make me feel better about myself.
I understand that there's like a distance between knowing someone and just knowing someone online. You may not be able to really have that like tangible feeling with them, but to hate on someone's success just sounds like the ultimate like beta move.
Right. And there are some people who I've been following for years and like watched them become successful, and it doesn't bother me. I actually am like, oh, that's kind of like aspirational. That's why when I posted about Remy Ashton leaking her brand deal number, there were not a lot of negative comments on that. Everyone in the comments was like, oh my God, Remy, get it. I've been following her for years. She's so amazing. She's so humble, da da da. Like, everyone supported her.
I think the girls that get it, because if you've never tried influencing, you have no idea how hard it is.
You don't. And I think a lot of people think of influencing being hard as like, well, I'm a teacher and I have to deal with 50 second graders all day and it's exhausting and I'm underpaid. And you're saying that your job is as hard as mine. It's not the same. It's not hard in the same way.
No. It's not mentally or physically difficult to paint a piece of artwork sometimes too. But just because you don't harness the skill to be able to do what influencers do, just like I wouldn't have the patience to be a teacher and deal with kids all day. I guess
I'm saying that they don't think that influencers have skills.
Right. But the only people who think that is because they've never tried it. It's the same people who say like, oh, that picture was great. You must have a really great camera. It's the camera is the only reason why the picture came out well. Like, I can't take a good picture with anything, but
it's so true. I remember seeing in one of the snark subreddits, actually, there was a thread saying, why would you never want to be an influencer? and it was full of them who talk shit about these influencers saying, I would never want to be an influencer because I could not deal with the public scrutiny. I could not deal with like my life being on display and people knowing everything about me. I don't know. There's just like a lot of personal aspects of it. Those are the things that make it hard.
And even if you're not even trying to make content that's about your physical appearance, I bet Miss Rachel gets like hate comments all the time just because
people fucking hate Miss Rachel.
Right. And she's just there trying to teach your kids how to speak.
I think that people can't conceptualize how difficult that is. Like, I think that's what people mean when they say that influencing is hard.
Yeah.
Also, making videos and stuff is hard.
It's time consuming.
It's time consuming. People are filming themselves. They're usually editing themselves, at least in the beginning. That's a skill.
You got to figure out lighting, backdrop, how to position. You know, you've got to be a writer now. You got to try and write some stuff. You got to be an actor because you got to...
You have to know how to speak.
I don't know. It's really hard to do.
Yes, just in a different way. Just because influencing can be hard in those ways doesn't mean that it's not hard to be a doctor or a nurse or a lawyer or an EMT or anything like that. That is very difficult. Hell, me working in corporate, social media was difficult. It was mentally taxing on me, but it's just every job has its different things.
I mean, it's kind of like people who say, oh my God, why should a dishwasher get paid, $18 an hour when I should be getting paid, $25 an hour? It's like, bitch, we both should be doing the same thing.
Right. Why are you getting mad at me? You need to get mad at the person who's paying us.
Right. You deserve that money and I deserve this money. It doesn't take away from either of us to get what we deserve.
Amen.
Kendrick Lamar's flared jeans are not flared jeans. Am I wrong? They're boot cut jeans.
I think that they could also be classified as bell bottoms.
Bell bottoms have a longer taper, don't they? They almost go up the calf.
Oh, do they?
Don't they?
It was like a boot cut.
I mean, if anything, they kind of look like those Pilates or yoga pants, that are like...
Oh, yes. I love those.
With the little floppy ankle area.
Yoga pants. But now they call them flared leggings.
See, exactly. Exactly. Those were like the original yoga pants. And then they came out with like, the Lululemon style, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like just straight. And now we're like back to that. We're back to the yoga. And now instead of calling them boot cut, we're calling them flared jeans. Anyway, I thought the halftime show was a 10 out of 10. I thoroughly enjoyed it. As everything with Kendrick, I feel like he puts so much thought and layers into things. And I enjoy reading and watching videos from all the takes of just people who have spent the time to try and unearth all of the layers. And it's really interesting to me.
I could not agree more. And I feel like if you're hating on the halftime show,
I feel like you're telling on yourself.
You're telling on yourself. It's just giving ignorance. It's giving Brittany Mahomes. I feel like she didn't like that halftime show.
That's a deep cut.
That's not a deep cut.
But all I gotta say is if those boot cut jeans make a resurgence, great. But if they make a resurgence rebranded as flared jeans at Abercrombie, I'm gonna go crazy.
Oh, they have to be at Abercrombie. They were like the main purveyors of the bootcut jean. I will be keeping an eye out for sure. Okay, niche lord of the week is our dear fellow TikToker, Xander Tucker, who came for Ethan Klein on TikTok. He made a TikTok about Ethan Klein doing a salute on his show to rage bait because that is what Ethan Klein does. And Ethan Klein crashed the fuck out. He asked Xander to come on the show, and when he didn't come on, he went on a huge rant about him, and it was very embarrassing. So shout out to Xander. And then all of the fucking Ethan Klein stans were in Xander's comments being absolutely insane.
I feel like to be an Ethan Klein's like stan and like stand up for everything they do on like online just sounds like the most insane thing to me. I couldn't imagine riding that dick.
There are actually a lot of people who it would be embarrassing for you to like be defending them in someone's comment section. But Ethan Klein, now I feel like he's going to come for us.
He's got some intern with like Google alerts.
He does. I am not putting him in the thumbnail. It's just too much. After Frenemies, if you are not on Team Trisha and you're fucking with Ethan, I mean, Godspeed, but stay out of Xander's comment section.
Xander,
he told no lies.
Good for you for just, rejecting and, standing on. And obviously all he wanted to do was just to just yell.
He just wanted to berate and talk over him for 30 minutes so that he could feel big and bad and like he'd gotten his retribution.
Which I thought it was funny that it wasn't even like, okay, let's meet at my studio and we'll do this. It was like, call into my show like fucking Eric from Ohio. You've reached the Calvin Klein show. You've reached the Klein show.
Not the Calvin Klein.
You've reached the Klein show. You're
You've
caller
reached the
number 97.
Hi, I'm a producer for the H3H3 podcast. Yes, you're calling in for Ethan? Okay, I'm going to put you on a brief hold, and then I will patch you through.
First off, please e-doc sign this waiver.
Yeah, it's just cringe, honestly. So shout out to Xander. He's killing it. And Ethan Klein, you were wrong about Trisha ever being on Saturday Night Live, and you're wrong here.
Yeah, the most badass move is the fact that Trisha just has not had to utter his name once after all of this. And like, he cannot keep her name out of her.
It is insane.
I feel like in a related note, have you seen the fallout from Serena Williams being in the halftime show, and how Stephen A. Smith is like, if I was with you, I would divorce you if you did that. If you're going to feel the need to get on national stage in reference to your ex while you're with me, and you think that deserves any of your thought or time, he's like, you could leave. I mean, even the host of his show, Molly, was like, Steven, if you were with Serena Williams, you would be a kept man. You're not doing anything about Serena Williams. And other people had joined in that conversation. And then her husband has been online defending against this one particular hater. I can't remember his name. But he was just like saying, you guys have no idea the fallout that she got from dancing, doing the crip walk at Wimbledon. She got so much hate online for that, so much hate in the press for that. Being able to come back to this stage at this time in that city, it had deeper layers than just about Drake.
Right. She's from Compton. She can do the crip walk if she wants.
I mean, I'm sure there's a layer to that, especially since like he dissed her in one of his tracks.
Right. And he is the worst. So whatever. And I'm not even remotely surprised that her husband defended her, because what would we expect? Support of free speech, except for when it comes to the white people Twitter subreddit that Elon Musk had banned. Okay, that is my Elon mention of the show.
Wow, we made it so close.
We did. To keep hearing more about Elon Musk, subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on TikTok at bria.stewart. You can follow Will at bookit.yt.
This is Niche, episode 4. Out.
Deuces.
Deuces.